Hello, folks. Welcome to Beyond the Boards, the San Jose Stage Company. I'm Randall King, Stage Company's artistic director. Beyond the Boards is the Stage Company's virtual connection to our regional arts community, a chance to interface with some of the artists that Stage has collaborated with, maybe their creative process, adjustments to the new platforms to give access to their works, their thoughts and feelings during this perfect storm of the pandemic, citizens' protest, and polarized politics. During this stay-in-place pandemic, we've all have struggled on many levels to adjust how to entertain ourselves on the lower level. But music soothes the savage beast, and I got two songs we all should be listening to. Springsteen's Chimes of Freedom and Stevie Wonder's Blowin' in the Wind, both Bob Dylan classics, and tunes even more poignant in today's socio-political climate. Today, we have the privilege and honor to have the actor, artist, activist, comic, director, playwright. He wrote and performed A Weekend with Pablo Picasso right here at the Stage Company, and who, along with the creative forces of Richard Montoya and Ricardo Salinas, founded the powerful and satirical, politically renowned Culture Clash. I speak, of course, of our dear friend and true Renaissance man, Herbert Siguenza. It's a difficult and loaded question to start with these days. How you doing, Herbert?
Not so simple to answer that anymore, right?
Yeah.
But, I'm looking at all this craziness. I'm looking at all this as something really, really positive. I'm very excited about it, actually. I know it's hard, but the change is hard. Doesn't come easy. And the pandemic. Well, first of all, let's go back to Trump. We got to go back to the source, right? Trump has challenged us as artists, right? Especially as a activist artist, comedian that I am, satirist. You can't write satire during Trump's time because he is the satire. He is already writing this comedy for us already. It's grotesque. And how do you satirize something that's so evil? So first of all, so I've been dealing with that for 3 years. And then the pandemic came, and that unearthed a lot of other worms that have been under the stones. It has unearthed it has unearthed our whole system. How our health system is in poor shape. It has unearthed all our economic system. It has unearthed how people are really literally only a check away from being homeless. And so I see that as positive. I just see that as, folks, this is what we've been talking about for years, that there's been inequality for years, economic inequalities. Let's stay there. And then the racist virus really hit us a week ago, right? Really bit us by seeing this video of George Floyd. And I think that really sparked something. I think that was the spark of revolution.
Herbert, if I may,
that now is unearthing another big worm, which is racism in this country, which I think is probably the biggest one that we've ever had. We just never have dealt with it,
Well, in the world of theater, when when I'm directing or even when I'm acting, I see the power in triptychs, the 1, 2, 3 punch, and that's the key to comedy.
Yes, and we've had that through. Yeah.
I've had some few conversations about this in terms of I fought for civil rights most of my adult life.
I know, that's why I like you.
I have had, this has put me through, my daughter said, don't use that term anymore. I have to say it was like a wake up. It was a woke moment for me. And it was a series of triptychs that I think affected everyone. And it was the young man jogging through the neighborhood, Aubrey, Karen in the park,
yes,
the dog, and then the knee, George Floyd, and I think that was enough punch to say our ears opened, even my ears opened, because I heard a comment. I want to share it because it helped my eyes open.
Mhm. Yeah.
And it was the young man who was arrested from CNN, who the next day said, there's a proverb that if the village doesn't embrace the child will burn the village to feel its warmth. And
Wow.
and it really made my eyes go, whoom.
Whoa.
You know, now I hear you on
Yeah.
another level. But
Yeah.
don't let me interrupt you, because what you're saying
I
means
think
so
it was compounded by the fact too. It was a perfect storm. You know, for 3 months we've been in our houses, right? Big Brother's been telling us to stay home, right? So I think once this happened, it was kind of like, you know, it just opened the gates to freedom, you know, and that's why people are, you know, I think that really compounded the riots as well, and the protests, is that people were just feeling desperate to get out as well, you know. So what a better, you know, what's a better reason to go out than to protest something that's important? So I think it was just a perfect storm, you know.
Yeah, that's a term I've been using, and part of that element is the T. I call him the T. Part of that maelstrom is him. It's him. You know.
So, you know,
Since
as
it's a
artists,
T.
we keep creating. You know, I've been creating since the pandemic came around and shut down all the shows, the live shows. I was in the Bay Area.
You're in Berkeley Rep.
I was at the Berkeley Rep with Culture Clash in America. It was a fantastic show. It was getting the best reviews we've ever had, the best crowds we've ever had. We're in the middle of a 52 show run, imagine. And we were just on top of the world. And then around show 20, they told us to shut down, right? And so that was a bummer, but, you know, on the bigger scope of things, it wasn't. But, you know, we came back home. The guys went to LA. I came back to San Diego. And everything was canceled for a while. And, you know, everything's canceled, and that's fine. But then all the theaters started becoming social media television stations, right? All the theaters became, television stations, and they all needed content for their station, for their channel. And so I've been super busy just creating content for different theaters to broadcast on their channels, you know. I'm doing a project called Beach Town Live in San Diego Rep. And Beach Town Live is based off a play that I did a couple of years ago, which was an interactive play, which was a fictional town called Beach Town, which is really San Diego, right? And it has a fictional city council and all. And they're dealing with the pandemic. They're dealing with COVID-19. And, you know, they talk about, you know, social distancing, mask wearing. And then we're going to have the live people on Zoom chime in and, you know, tell us their opinions about COVID-19 and what they're dealing with. So I was really excited. You know, it was going to be a interactive, you know, funny, satirical piece about COVID-19 using real people and actors. So very innovative, right? And then George Floyd happened last week, and it just changed the complexion. You know, sorry for the pun, but I as an artist felt very funny to broadcast a satirical comedy in the midst of all this, right? So canceled. So we canceled the first episode, and we're going to postpone it a week. I just felt that I couldn't, as an artist, I couldn't put something out there that was frivolous compared to what was really going on in the country.
You know, I just realized that, you know, I've known you and I know what you are and who you are and what you've done, but you are currently artist in residence at San Diego Rep.
Yes, playwright in residence. Yes, I'm a blessed individual. I have a Mellon grant, playwright in residence, National Playwright in Residence grant, which pays me to write plays for 3 years for the San Diego Rep. I'm now in my 4th year. I got it twice, so I'm very blessed. Right. Man. I'm very blessed. You know, COVID-19 didn't stop the income for me, and I'm so happy about that. So blessed about that, because if I was freelancing right now, as I usually do, I'd be in bad shape right now.
Well, we have had to reinvent ourselves, and my hope is, because I'm not a computer internet guy.
I see an empty theater behind you.
Yeah, yeah. I come down here to do these. It has been very bizarre. I realized a few weeks ago that, by the time this clears up, the pandemic and us being able to come together as in our art form, this building will have been torn down, and we'll have a new theater here, and we'll have room for culture clash.
Right on.
It'll be the same configuration.
Room
And
for
I got to
everybody,
say,
hopefully.
I'm looking at you right now. I'm thinking about the weekend with Picasso, when the woman got up, because he opens the show saying the bathroom's down the hall.
Uh-huh.
And you remember that woman got up and went to that bathroom up on the stage. It was, I mean, there were so many, and of course, your ability to be improvisational. It was a great moment. Watch out for the goat, you hollered. But that was so special in this room. And it was actually supposed to be performed in a bigger hall at the Hammer. And when you brought it into this space, I think it felt different for you.
Yeah, but it was great. I've continued to do Picasso in smaller spaces since.
All right.
Yeah, I just did it last year at New Village Arts in Carlsbad, even smaller than your space, and I loved it. I loved it. I just loved the intimacy of that piece with people, in a room.
That's just my commercial pitch right now.
Yeah, and man, talk about people in a room. When are we going to get back in a room with people? When do you think?
Well, I think every day I wrap the day up thinking I have a sense of timeline on it, and then the next morning I wake up and feel another 2 or 3 months going on it. Let me ask you a question. Now, my daughter wanted me to ask you to unpack your Instagram quote. It's the artists must lead, not the institutions.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Can you kind of fill her in on that?
Well, I mean, look at if you look at the pandemic, right? Again, the pandemic has unearthed a lot of ugliness. Not ugliness; it's just the truth. The theaters went black, right, because of the pandemic. And who did they keep on staff? Marketing people, development people, no artist. In other words, the artists were all unemployed, and the only people they kept on salary are administration. And when it comes down to it, yes, we need administration, but really it's the only reason we're doing theater is because of the art, right? Artists. And so it just feels like we're putting the caboose in front of the engine. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like, what? No, the artist should be the leading, and they are. The institutions are calling the artists saying, hey, we need content. We need content. We'll do whatever, we'll do anything to keep our audiences happy, of course. And the only reason the only way they're going to keep their audiences happy is to provide them with art from the artists. It's not going to be a spreadsheet. And so what this pandemic is teaching me, and it's making me see how we need to decolonize our institutions, our theaters. I don't want the regional theaters to go back to normal, after this. What is normal? Normal was not good, man. Normal was not good. Normal was very little Black plays on your season, very little Latin plays in your season, nobody on your staff that's people of color, nobody on your board. That's the normal for regional theaters, And I don't mean to call out your theater. I think your theater is great. But even you guys might have to look back and say, wow, what can we do that do we really want to go back to normal? That's what I'm saying. We have to change stuff, So I think this whole Black Lives Matter thing has made us look deep into, wow, are we a little racist too? You know what I'm saying? Not blatantly, not a knee on someone's neck, but the whole.
It's so subtly ingrained that we silence.
The not representing somebody on your stage is, in a sense, is racism. You know what I'm saying? By not presenting that voice. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I saw a post. I responded to a post on that you did on Griffin Matthews, on
Yeah.
his calling out Broadway, and then it hit me. I've called it the Great White Way for a long. I mean, it's like that. Even that handle that it has feels racist to me now.
Yeah, and it's a hard thing for people of color, artists of color, because who who's the hand that feeds us? It's a white hand, right? You know what I'm saying? There's just no, you can't color it any way. It's a white hand that feeds us. So are we willing to bite that hand, in order to make a statement? Or do you get rejected? Do you get fired for being too uppity? You know what I'm saying? So I've gotten to the point where I'm like, I'm kind of sick of the normal, and I was
Yeah,
part of
there
that,
is no.
and I was part of that system too. I mean, I'm an activist artist, but I'm deep in the trenches of regional theater, and my bosses are white. You know what I'm saying? So I have to check myself. Do I really want to perpetuate what they want, or do I want something different? Yeah, it's
Well,
odd.
it's the nature of what we do is so collaborative that
Yeah.
it's sometimes disguised in that. You
Yeah.
know,
So
it's
I'm at the San Diego Rep right now, and I've been writing to them every day, soul searching. I'm saying, what if, what if we did a season that's Jubilee? The Jubilee. You've heard of Jubilee, right? The Jubilee is a system, is a season, a theater season without one white playwright on your season, in your season. In other words, all your plays are by people of color or LGBT or women. In other words, just change, that's, and people think that's radical. I don't think that's radical. I just think that's equity,
why have I never? Well, I want to ask the question why have I never heard of this
Yeah.
production? But then again,
How Round. Yeah. How Round, How Round, the institution from Boston. They're the ones that are promoting a Jubilee system where
okay.
are agreeing to do a season without a white male writer. And and it's challenging. It's really challenging, because the plays that sell money, that are pedigree, those are the plays by white guys, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
those are the ones we want to produce because we know we're going to sell tickets.
right.
So, again, it's back to commodity before art, so we have to change our way of thinking. Otherwise, we're going to be trapped,
Well, you asked, like, why not do a season of playwrights of color? I mean, why not?
Why not? Why not?
I think of many years ago when I was forced to be an artistic director. Uh, putting the programming together. How do you keep alive? How do you keep the doors open while still having any impact? How do you balance the commercialism of what we do? But if that blends with what this reality is, we got to reconsider that. And I
Thank
think
you.
out of this though, and I'm an optimist there. I don't think we would do this. We have to have a big heart with a lot of hope in it. What we're going to do is make a difference. But I don't think we're going back to normal. It doesn't feel like it to me. I mean, I lived in Salt Lake City as a young boy during what I called the Watts riots, and this is having grown up with those elements, and even I remember when Martin Luther King was shot. That was a very scary day for me in terms of how I felt it was going to affect that movement. And right now, he's sorely missed, in terms of having a sense of pragmatism. But I don't think they were listening. We were not listening in a way where that worked anymore. And it's time for that. Pardon my metaphor, but that pimple's come to a boil, and now it is open in a way where it needs to be cleaned out.
Yes.
And
yes.
that's what I'm feeling. That's what I'm feeling.
Yes. I think
you just got to keep fighting the good fight.
We have to clean it out. Yeah. Because otherwise it's going to stay there. Yeah, absolutely.
It's been here a long time.
What else can I tell you about? Oh yeah. Culture Clash. We're doing a show for La Jolla Playhouse called a virtual show called totally fake Latino news. And it's just going to be a wild weekly 10-minute show of just crazy, satire that we're known for. So that comes out.
How can we hook up to it? Tell us.
Yeah, just I guess La Jolla Playhouse. Yeah, they haven't announced when it's going to come out yet, but we've already, we've banked a couple of shows already. But it's going to come out soon in a couple of weeks in La Jolla Playhouse, probably on Facebook.
All right. Okay. I'll be back on Facebook soon.
Yeah, La Jolla Playhouse is going to put it on their Facebook page.
Okay, cool. Good.
Yeah,
good.
and I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be fun.
Now, what was it like? Because
and we're not, we don't hold back. We're going to talk about Black Lives Matter. We're going to talk about all this stuff. We don't hold back because again, Culture Clash is very independent. No one's feeding us. And that's the only way an artist can really express themselves when they're totally independent.
Yeah. So that you're sponsor free.
Mm-hmm.
Herbert, talk about your virtual Pablo Picasso. Now, we talked a little bit about the difference in the size of venue and that, but you're bringing your venue way. The platform's coming down to the.
Yeah, computer. I've been wanting to film a Weekend with Pablo Picasso for a long time now because I think it's just a real intimate piece, and I think it lends itself to like a film piece. And so I'm working with a filmmaker down here in San Diego and the San Diego Rep. And we're actually right now looking for a house or a mansion, a Mediterranean mansion or something, where there's a lot here in La Jolla. And we're going to borrow it. And for a week, we're going to try to mount a Weekend with Pablo Picasso and film it and offer it as a show for San Diego Rep's fall season. It's a piece that I love. I have great memories doing it at San Jose Stage. Great memories.
You personify Pablo Picasso.
Yeah, and your audience really enjoyed it, and I sold a lot of paintings every day.
Yes.
So I just have good memories, and I hope to bring it back when you open the big house.
Yes. Like I said, I know we talked about trying to schedule a Culture Clash up here for Border Town.
Also,
too.
yeah.
When I read it, of course, that was. You guys are always got your finger right on the pulse of what's happened. That Border Town too is. I'm sorry we couldn't get it in, but it's just because you guys are so booked.
Yeah, no, but we can plan it.
We'll plan it out. Like I said, we can start talking about that because we're gonna have to figure out a Jubilee up here. All right.
I encourage you to do a Jubilee season. Why not?
Yeah, absolutely. But it'd be great to have you guys up.
So Randall, these are trying times for everybody, for theaters especially. But again, I think I see it as a real positive thing because it made us slow down. Made us slow down and reflect on the work we've done, and now contemplate about the work we're going to do. And especially after George Floyd, that really puts pressure to be conscious of the work we put out there, and to be conscious that we represent people that are marginalized, and I see these as good things. I've always preached that, Of course, there's always people that will react, going, "Oh, I can't relate to that. That goes against my."
You can't have change without movement, and
So although it looks really bleak right now, and I see sunshine at the end of the tunnel. I really do, and I see us getting back into the theater. Not tomorrow, but next year, yeah. And I hope,
I think too,
even the audiences will be appreciative of being back in the theater. So I think we were all taking each other for granted. We were taking our audiences for granted. The audience were taking us for granted. We were just going through the motions of going to the theater, like zombies. And I think now everything's going to have a little more meaning. And that's what I think ultimately that's what you want, right? You want meaning in life. Otherwise, what are we doing, right?
Well, I think your point's well taken. I've been feeling it. It took me more than a few days after we closed our productions down and went into stay in place. It's hot. I mean, your momentum has been 186,000 miles a second since the computer era, and coming to an abrupt halt, forced reflection. And it has been. I think it's going to be a wealth for art. We're going to come out of this with a lot of inspiration. And this morning I saw something that brought tears to my eyes. It was a young Black woman in Minneapolis talking about how during the peaceful protests, she said a white woman about 10 feet from where I'm standing right now came up to me and asked me if she could spray some sunblock on me so I didn't get burnt. And it was just a simple thing she was talking about, Herbert. It was such a simple gesture, but it just somehow resonated. And I was thinking I hope the world's watching. It's about the better angels of our nature. And these are the moments where you have to rise in. And I think the artists always do. We always do.
Yeah.
So thanks for fighting the good fight, my friend.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for showcasing us. And, I've always admired your theater. I've admired you and Kathleen and how conscious you guys are and how sensitive you are to society in your community.
We're trying to learn. We're trying to listen.
Huh?
Yeah. It's just listening and learning. It's what we all need to do, and just have some input. But I do feel it. I feel that energy. I mean, I talk to artists every day who cry with frustration because they're just like, it feels like horses at the track waiting to get out of the gate. And when those gates open, it's going to be something special. I think that all the world will have to do is listen to us.
Yeah, absolutely. Well,
thank you, Herbert, taking the time out here, man.
Thank you so much. We will see you around the bend.
Yeah, around the bend, baby.
We'll hold it tight here in San Diego.
We'll hold the fort up here, my friend. Give your family a hug, and we hope we see you face to face soon.
Okay, guys. Thank you.
Abrazos.